Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ashok Goyal and I am the Chairman of Rail Analysis. And first of all, I would like to warmly welcome Mr. D.K. Mishra ji, Director MTP, who has been very kind to take out his valuable time to join us to grace this occasion. I would also like to welcome all the learned panelists, the speakers, the sponsors, the partners, exhibitors, stall holders, ex-railway officials, government officers, VIP delegates, the staff of Meridian Hotel, attendees, interior decorator, and the team of Rail Analysis to this first panel discussion of the third Rail and Metro Technology Conclave 2022. This event would not have been possible without the help, guidance, support, and cooperation of you one and all who are present here to grace this multi-dimensional Rail and Metro Conclave. Today's topic for the first panel discussion is new developments in infrastructure, signaling, and telecommunication. Without taking any more of your valuable time, I will straight away get to the panel discussion focused on infrastructure, signaling, and telecommunication. We have Shri Mishra ji here with us, the Director of MTP. Sir, there are many metro projects under construction or planning in various cities of India. Can you please share with us the role of your directorate involved in approving these metro projects and their executions? Yeah, Mr. Mishra, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's on.
Actually, Ministry of Railway, how much is involved in sanction of any metro projects, in execution of any metro projects? To explain it, I will first mention about the Metro Act 2009. Later on, that act was revised in 2013, and in that act, Parliament has given the responsibility to Ministry of Railway to look after the safety issues and technical issues of the metro projects. By that act, Ministry of Railway is responsible for any technical input in metro projects. Any technical approval is taken from Ministry of Railway before start of any metro projects. So, whenever any project comes in any city, then first of all, detailed project report is prepared based on the existing guideline issued by Ministry of Railway regarding technical issues, and based on that policy, detailed project report is submitted to Ministry of Railway. After scrutiny of that report, three things we assess in that report. First one is either any railway land is involved in that project, that is spareable or not spareable. Any railway crossing is involved in the alignment of that metro project, that has to be seen. Either the piers are not obstructing our future projects, and span has adequate vertical clearance and horizontal clearances. And thirdly, whatsoever technical considerations has been taken in assessing the cost of the project, those technical things are as per policy guideline issued from Ministry of Railway. All three aspects are assessed, and then that detailed project report is passed from the Ministry of Railway, approved from Ministry of Railway. That again is put up to the Parliament, not Parliament, Cabinet Committee for approval, At that stage, again, interministerial discussions is held. In that, also Ministry of Railway is involved to see whatever observations were made from our side were get accommodated in those report or not. Then project is sanctioned. So at the preliminary stage, before sanction of any project, Ministry of Railway is involved in approving that project. That was your question. Perhaps I might have answered that question.
Sir, you talked about the Act of 2009, the Metro Act, if I am not wrong. But we started the metros much earlier than that. Was there some other earlier act also in place which has been replaced by the one of 2009?
Earlier, Calcutta Metro was existing in our railway system, and one act was existing prior to this. That was the Act of 1978. Through that act, Delhi Metro started in India, and later on it was spread over all the states, and new act came as a separate Metro Act.
Sir, you are also in charge of giving the approvals of metro projects, including rolling stock. The audience would like to know and have your ideas that what is this process and how much time is taken for providing the approvals?
Once any project is got sanctioned, then first step is there are two documents which are approved from Ministry of Railway, that is Schedule of Dimension and Design Basis Report. Generally, any approval we grant from our side has to go through RDSO, Research Design and Standard Organization, Lucknow, and then from Ministry of Railway. If everything is as per policy, then within month RDSO approves that document, and 1 month time roughly is taken from Ministry of Railway side. Suppose some policy is differing from the existing guideline, then some observations are made and then some more time is taken. Now, there are 3 other documents which is also got approved. The broader technology, which is technology is approved from our side. That is, one is from track, Annexure C2 is approved. For signaling, Annexure E1 is approved, and for OHE side, D1 is approved. As far as rolling stock is concerned, speed trial is conducted from RDSO, and based on that speed trial, some speed certificate is recommended for approval to Ministry of Railway, and through CCRS, that document is approved from our side, how much speed that rolling stock with respect to the track will be opened, and any project is opened with what speed. That is approved from our side.
Thank you, Mishra ji, for your very valuable insights. In fact, we have a worldwide audience, and they would like to understand how the procedure really goes, because everybody knows that India is a very, very upcoming and a very attractive market in times to come. I will come back to you, sir. We also have Dr. Pawan Kumar ji, Associate TCP, Town and Country Planning Organization, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Sir, now all the mass transit projects are looking to adopt TOD in their urban development plans. Please share with us, how do you view this development?
See, actually, any type of the development along the new mass corridor is slightly easier. The difficult task is where the already corridor exists, how the things can be done. Just since we are talking about the rail and the metro, here I would just like to highlight to you, once we talk about the rail, it means we are talking about the long distance passenger, we are talking about the suburban commuters. Long distance passenger, that share was 67.9% in 1950 to 51. That reduced to 43% in 2019 and 20. The reduction happened because due to the highway and the airlines. But the share of suburban commuter increased. That was 32% in 1950-51. That becomes around 57% in 2019-20. It means if you want to make the development along the corridor, this is the time when we have to look into the transport infrastructure development for the commuters passenger in the railway. Still the loop network and the closed networks are required. Still the infrastructure required for the integration of the suburban railway with the metro and the ISBT and other things like that. Interchange infrastructure is required. Even walk plans are required. So this integrated corridor development is more important that should be done for the railway corridor. Now the things you are asking for the mass corridor, of course in Delhi we have the almost world-class transport infrastructure. We can say 7,200 buses, DTC plus cluster buses, they are carrying 35 lakhs average daily passengers. Even the Delhi Metro, at present average daily line utilization 42.6 lakhs. In spite of all these things, it is very difficult, in fact next to impossible, to bring people back from the personal transport. Personal transport. Really it is a difficult task. In spite of all this world-class infrastructure in terms of the Delhi Metro and the buses services in Delhi. So what is the things at present, the things is required, that is required of the road redesign for those services what supplementary and complementary to the metro rail. Just like the NMT private modes, space should be provided. NMT public modes, buses that is running to the feeding to the station, premium buses, AC buses, all these things are demand after the COVID-19. Initially the road was designed for the buses, then it became the cars, and now the cars are still continuing. Once we provide the space for this type of the NMT private mode, NMT public mode, and the premium buses and AC buses that were feeding to the metro station and MRTC station, that is very, very important. So this infrastructure development is crucial at present to address. Sir.
Dr. Pawan, I fully agree with you, but the point remains, who's going to do that?
Yes. Now, this is the problem, who is going to do that? Just recently, the electric vehicle policy was declared in August 2020 by the government, in Delhi government. They have taken a nice decision regarding the up to 2030, all the feeder buses, modes, will be electrified. So some sort of this decision is required time to time. Since there is a various organization working in town and cities, at that time, their integration is also important. And that can provide the better integrated transport corridor for the city residents.
Is there any sort of framework for the workable solution of integrating, the road, rail, transit, and air?
Sir, now the time has come to things like that. In spite of all the mass transit, many developed countries, they have also started to integrate to other supplement modes that is required for the commuters. And that is not only they are supplementing and complementing, they are also doing the electrifying to address the climatic change, things like that. So that integration is required. Just for your information, I can say, in spite of the e-buses and the metro rails and the suburban rail, even ferries are nowadays electrified. Cable cars in the Bogota, Colombia is electrified. Even the trams in Berlin, Germany, electrified. Ferry in the Norway, the Bergen city is electrified. So at least, either through the action or through the integration or through the advocacy, that integration is required. And once that will be integrated, that will give the better result. So that is the need of the hour at present.
Is it a cluster of ministries together who are handling it, or is it the one particular organization who is looking into this?
So actually the transport is the state matter. So that's why there's a little bit problem there. Otherwise, all the big organizations are working that field.
Dr. Saab, thank you so much for your opinion. It's a very complex solution and a complex, but it is required all the same. I'll come back to you in a bit, sir. We have Shri Praveen Goyal ji, Senior Vice President, Business Development and Technical Services, KEC International. Sir, welcome to the forum.
Thank you and good morning to all of you.
Yeah. KEC is very active in railways and metro sector space. We keep reading about it in the newspaper, this is one, and so on. Can you share with us some of your key projects you are involved in presently?
So KEC, as Ashok Goyal has rightly said, that we have a very good space in railways, and we have recently moved into metro market. Around 5 years ago, we decided to do that, and currently we are engaged in Kochi Metro. We are building viaduct and we are doing work on Velasquez track. We are involved in Chennai Metro. We are doing viaduct work over there. We are involved in NCRTC. We are doing the viaduct and the stations both. In fact, in Kochi also we are doing the stations also. So this is there. Then we are working in Delhi Metro. We have won 4 packages in power sector and traction, which also includes 2 in Patna, because Patna is being handled by Delhi Metro. So this is the area. We are very keen into this sector because, as has been already mentioned by my fellow panelists, that this is one area where India needs to move in. And this is also one area where the technology is niche. It is not available to everyone. The new methods of management, project management, the completion, the quality, etc., is quite high. And so this was the area we decided to move in, and we have successfully done that. We will continue this endeavor. It's still, I would say, work in progress.
Goyal ji, we would also like to know what are some of the new technologies which you have adopted or are adopting for your project management and to make the task more simpler and faster.
So as far as the project management is concerned, I mean, I would say we are back to the basics. We continue to stick to the fundamentals. The fundamentals remain that how do you kickstart the project, how do you execute it, and how do you close it. So that more or less will remain the same, as it's a philosophy, I would say, rather than a technology. Now when it comes to technology, yes, we would move into, for example, we go into more and more mechanization. We have started moving into digital areas, and that's to some extent, I would say, the credit goes to the metro authorities who are pushing us for example, EDMS systems where the data is stored centrally. They are also moving into the 3D system, because as one contractor we cannot move into a digital medium which is different from the other contractor. So it has to be also driven by the metro authorities, which is being done by many of them, and we are certainly at the forefront of it. The other part, again, I come back to, is the mechanization, use of heavy machinery, making sure the safety standards are very high. That is one area where we keep on moving up. Similarly, the quality part, that is also something which we have a constant focus on. So it's a mix. We have to ensure that we keep the basics right and at the same time move into the new frontiers of technology.
How well is the electrification project in DMRC progressing?
Yeah, so basically, as I mentioned, we have 2 DMRC projects and 2 in Patna. Patna, there are some issues both with land acquisition and with the funding also, but those are being sorted out and we are moving into that part. We have recently won one RSS tender in DMRC, and there's a good amount of pressure on that to move forward. And we are fast pacing that. We have just got that order about 4 months ago. We started the the identification, barricading of land, soil investigation, procurement part. So all the initial phases of the project we have already done. We have also got a small, we have an order in which we are augmenting a lot of depots in DMRC. That is more or less on the completion stage. So overall, and there is one more, Mojpur Majlis Park, where we are also into the construction of the OHE. So there the mass erection, etc. has to start next week. The viaduct has been handed over to us, or will be handed over to us in a day or two. So we are quite at the forefront, and things are going good there. So that's.
Praveen, I must accept my congratulations for the good work KEC is doing, and I'll be back in a bit, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
We also have Shri Karan Kumar Pahuja ji, President, Indian Stainless Steel Development Association. Sir, welcome to the forum.
Thank you.
Can you kindly share with us the role of your organization, ISSDA, and what is the main focus in the railway and the metro sector?
We are a 30-year-old organization of stainless steel producers. All major stainless steel producers came together to form this association in 1989. And our mandate was to promote the use of stainless steel in different applications, because at that point of time, predominantly, people knew stainless steel only in the kitchenware. So over the last 3 decades, we have worked in various areas, and our relationship with railways is very, very special. I think we made a humble beginning with stainless steel coaches about 20 years back, and with working with railways and educating the customers. And it led to a decision in 2017 where railways decided to make only stainless steel coaches in all the 3 coach factories. And I think they have a plan to replace the entire existing fleet with stainless steel coaches of LHB design. Another thing which I can mention is about the wagons, of course. Again, stainless steel wagons came, which benefited the railways tremendously. And another important area which I can mention is the biodigesters, because the hygiene of the coaches inside and outside was getting affected, and railways were looking for a solution and a suitable material for this biodigesters. And stainless steel, stood the test of time, and I think today almost the entire fleet of 60,000 wagons have been fitted with stainless steel biodigesters made of high-grade stainless steel, which has been tremendous benefit in terms of hygiene. Similarly, the Delhi Metro started with Delhi Metro. The Metro man, Mr. Shri, has a choice of choosing the material for the metro coaches, and he selected stainless steel. When you enter the metro, right when you enter the station when you enter the train, you are always surrounded by stainless steel all around you. So that's the story of stainless steel with railways.
Shri Karanji, yesterday we had a very extensive presentation, stainless steel versus aluminium. Can you share what are the benefits we can expect for the bridges to be made from stainless steel as well?
Yeah, I think first of all, just a word about aluminium. I think the presentation was very extensive, and I'm sure Railway would do their due diligence based on that, because the main benefit which is reported for aluminium coaches is the weight. It is 2 to 3 tons, maybe less than stainless steel. But with the same ecosystem, without disturbing the existing production lines, the weight reduction in stainless steel coaches can also be achieved as it was presented yesterday. So it's for railways to see how they proceed further. Coming to the bridges, we have a 7,500 kilometer coastline, and in yesterday's presentation, you also saw a corrosion map of the country. Most of the area are highly corrosive, and the existing infrastructure, railway infrastructure, which was made maybe 100 years back, was not designed to sustain such excessive environmental impact, leading to, faster corrosion and deterioration. But what happens, it's not really possible for railways with the increase in the population pressure and the passenger traffic to really take down the repairs all the time. In fact, many a times it happens that railway engineers know that this bridge or this overbridge is due for repairs, but they're not able to take the shutdown because of the huge traffic and footfalls. And so there is a huge backlog of repairs of bridges and structures built about centuries ago. And as we know, sometimes this causes very unfortunate accidents and loss of life. So we worked with the railways and we said, now that we have better materials available, why don't you try stainless steel bridges? And I'm very happy to say that we, ISSDA, worked with RDSO to develop a standard for stainless steel material for bridges, and railways have adopted it. Already, we have 3 foot-over bridges already commissioned, 2 in East Coast Railway and 1 in the Western Railway, and many more are in the pipeline. Even one of the road-over bridges have been, I think, constructed in Goregaon, Mumbai. So, I think the benefits will all to see you design an infrastructure for longer life, for a maintenance-free life, and it is a tremendous benefit to the railways and to the nation.
Do we gentlemen think that the bridges made from stainless steel are apt for our railways? Anybody, sir?
Now railway is going for in foot-over bridges, stainless steel. After getting the experience of that, it will be spread in other fields also.
Also. Yes. You mean it's a nice step taken by
Yes.
the stainless steel industry?
Yes.
Sir, thank you so much for your very valuable inputs. And if we have the time, I would like to come back to you for a bit once again. And we also do have Shri Rajeev Gupta ji, Vice President, Sales and Marketing, Texmaco Rail. Sir, Texmaco is very, very active in the rail and metro sector. Can you share with us some of the key projects you are doing at the moment?
Texmaco is a $3 billion advanced group company. We started in 1939. So it's almost 70 years we have been operating in. As an advanced group company, we are into agribusiness, rail and infrastructure, lifestyle and services sector. If I particularly talk about the rail and engineering sector, we have been doing we have been manufacturing wagons, loco shells, traction and coaching, steel structures, hydromechanical equipments, and the bridges. So it has a wide portfolio we have been dealing in. Particularly talking about the rolling stock, we are manufacturing wagons and loco shells. In last 7 decades, we have made more than 160,000 wagons, and almost all kind of wagons we have manufactured. We have been supplying it to railways and also to the private sector who operate their own rakes. And we have supplied to almost all the leading groups, whether Adani, whether Hindalco, Aditya Birla Group, and HPCL. BPCL. So all the sectors from power, cement, container, oil and gas, we have really supplied different kind of wagons. Almost all of kind of wagons which are operating in the Indian railway industry, we have manufactured. And not only in the Indian railway industry, we have also supplied it to the African markets, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and many different type of wagons.
I believe that recently you were awarded a very major tender for wagons. Can you share some insights onto this? And are you planning to manufacture these wagons in-house? And also, are you increasing your capacity? And are you making use of any modern machinery to make your wagons more competitive, viable, and of a world-class selling standard?
Recently, Railways had gone for 75,000 wagons order, and we received 20,000 wagons order from the Indian Railways, which is the highest. It's almost 6,500 crores, which we have to supply it next 39 months. And till now, the entire wagon industry was operating at almost 50 to 60% capacity. So this order is definitely going to help not only Texmaco, but the entire wagon industry to have its capacity. As you mentioned that about the capacity about the Texmaco, we have a 7,400 wagons capacity which we can manufacture every year, and it is on the single shift basis. So looking at this order when we are talking about, we can definitely going to go for the 2 shifts and 3 shifts and can increase the business. So capacity will not be a constraint. Second thing is we have a largest manufacturing capability in Calcutta. We have almost 8 bays. We are making different kind of wagons. So it's a sort of auto concept we are bringing in where different lines are being dedicated to a different kind of wagons. So that way we will be able to produce and we will use the best of the technology available to manufacture the wagons at a much higher pace.
The wagons, according to the Indian requirements, well, very good. How about the international level or international standard? Are you able to sort of keep pace with that?
In fact, the quality-wise, we are the best. Only thing is the European and American, the standards are different. So we have not been supplying, but we are the part of the American Association also. And from there, we are working with the ArcelorMittal and other companies, and we have been supplying it to the African markets. So all the best type of wagons we have made and have supplied in the international markets.
Thank you, Rajeev ji, for your views, and wish you all the best. And I hope from Africa you can move on to America and the other higher value added markets.
Thank you.
We also have Shri Kumar Bajpeyee, Managing Director, Schwihag. In Hindi there was a song, Schwihag se Schwihag. I think everybody knows about it. Anyhow, welcome to the show, sir. Can you give us some insight about your companies and your technical capabilities and your present footprints in the Indian market?
So, good morning to all my friends, and thank you Goyal ji for giving this opportunity to Schwihag to participate so that we can brief what we are doing. So Schwihag basically is a Swiss company and about 50 years old company. We are into business of manufacturing track fastening equipment and turnouts. So we have solutions for high speed where the NCRTC tracks are being fitted with our track fastenings, 300W. So this will be the first track which will carry out the trials for above 180 and 200 kilometers per hour. So in India, we have already started making localization in order to be competitive. And our capability is that we can design specific purpose equipments for track and turnout. So our presence is there in America, Europe, Asia, and this is the first project NCRTC which we are executing. So we have solutions for different problems. So we are coming up with more possible solutions for the problem which Indian Railway and Metro is facing. So we are in discussion with ministries and also the authorities that how the chronic problems can be solved. And so this is how the Schwihag is in India. We have our local company also registered, Schwihag India Private Limited. So it is working on the localization part.
Are you manufacturing your products here in India or is it all coming from overseas?
No, currently it is coming all from overseas, but we have already started our drive of localization. And because as you are aware that the contracts are coming with the condition of 70-30. So 70% localization, 30% can be imported. So that 70% part will be addressing through localization. So by end of December, we will be localizing our 70% of the components in India.
Mr. Bajpeyee, Indian Railways launched the innovative policy to encourage startups in rail sector. A few of the solutions are focused on predictive maintenance and track work. Can you please share more insights into this? And what is your perspective on this?
So first of all, I will say thanks to the Railway Minister for allowing the new startup to enter into the railway market, because there was a strong legacy. I have got 10 years of experience. I have met various executives. Then, so there were some restrictions, like only company who are working with railway will get opportunity to manufacture. But now this legacy will break, and there are opportunities. For example, Gati Shakti. So it cannot happen on its own. So it will need a lot of innovation, lot of new products, whether it is signaling, whether it is civil construction. You can see the kind of civil construction which we can see now is very different from the old age tracks and other things what we have seen. Metros are coming up with various solutions. Now it is precasted. That means the tracks are assembled, the fittings are assembled in the factory. They are just installed, and the tracks are installed on the precasted slabs. So there is a huge potential which is there in market. Vis-a-vis the signaling, I will say, there is one chronic problem, which I will say it is a left out problem, sir, like track, turnout. If you are aware, still our turnout cannot manage speed of a rolling stock more than 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. So this Gati initiative will get affected due to that. So we have a solution. We are already in discussion that how we can support this Gati Shakti, and it will be done. We have turnouts where the trains are operating at more than 80 kilometers per hour. So huge potential for signaling in terms of the timing, and the placement of the signals and other things will change. So this is one of the opportunity which will come to signaling, plus the turnout companies.
Praveen, any take on what he said?
So I entirely agree. I mean, the complete signaling scenario is undergoing a change. It will happen because the braking distance will obviously increase as the speed goes up. So the signal placements have to change. The interlocking has to be, I mean, there has to be some modifications in the interlocking also. And as you are all aware that we have a system called TICAS, which is being placed wherever the speed goes up beyond 160 kmph. So that system is similar to the ERTMS or the ETCS system that is available in Europe. So you will continue to have the electronic interlocking system which is available right now, but in a slightly modified form, because that will also require some modification. Apart from that, you will have another layer which will be the cab signaling, which will certainly go ahead. Now, one of the main reasons why we have delays, you all must have experienced when a train is about to reach Bombay, Mumbai or Delhi, you find that the train speed slows down considerably. That is because of the crossings, turnouts, etc. And the speed at the turnouts is today limited, in some cases 30 kmph, in some cases 15 kmph also, and that reduces the time. So even if we have a Gati Shakti or we have a high speed on the main line, but once we are about to reach the main stations, the speed reduces considerably. That will certainly require modifications in the crossovers and the turnout. So that speed has to go up. So both these opportunities are there, apart from obviously bringing out a lot of other opportunities in rolling stock. It will also result in improvement changes in the track fasteners, as already mentioned. So a whole new gamut is going to come into play.
Let us hope earlier the better.
Yeah, I think they are moving in, I mean, we are seeing a lot of
Well,
early
we have
signs.
all the big captains of the railway industry. There is a lot of discussion about startups. We have very limited time. Would any of you take the initiative to very quickly explain to the audience what are the benefits for the startups? Anybody, sir? What are the benefits available by the government for the startups? I believe financially there are some. Anybody, sir? Okay. Anybody from the audience who would be able to highlight the benefits of the startups? Anybody? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need to be much, much, much more educated. What is being offered in a platter is not being looked in by anybody. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your views, your suggestions. Now we have the Q&A session, and we can invite any question anybody might have in his mind to ask any of the captains sitting over here from their respective fields, and we would be too pleased to give you the reply to your complete satisfaction. Please raise your hand. Can you bring? Education, sir. Both. Yesterday we were one.
Good morning, I'm Abhishek from Agog Power, and my question is to Mr. Praveen Goyal. Sir, as you know that there are recent changes in the qualification criteria in the railway EPC electrification projects, and the company who is not having experience of railway electrification can also participate now. So how are you coping up with the in the competition with the companies who are not having the experience? And the another question is, these tender criteria do not have the actual price variations of LME and EMA, and the price variation is of WPI. So how are you safeguarding your projects with this price variation?
I think both the questions are very relevant. So first of all, regarding the WPI part, I'll come to the second question first because that is something which is very clear. So as far as the WPI part is concerned, I think it's not a very good index for any owner or any authority to come up with, because it leaves the risk on the table for the contractor. So currently the WPI does not actually move with the EMA index or the LME cost of the copper and other metals. So this is a big issue. We have made a representation, and I'll request all the other industry partners, members, to make a representation to all the authorities, including Indian Railways, DMRC and other places, and there should be a better index than that. WPI sometimes can incidentally benefit also. For example, today, as on today, all the tenders which were quoted about a year ago, we are benefiting. But all the tenders which are quoted 2 years ago, we are losing. So we should actually have an index which runs concurrent with the actual prices. So that was the second part. The first part is obviously once you remove the barriers for entry, or you reduce the barriers for entry, it is the new entrants come into play, and they bring with them a lot of innovation, agility, which helps the old members to actually improve. So that's the law of nature. And the other part is that what has also happened in the last few years is the amount of work has gone up considerably. So I believe that there is enough for everyone on the plate. So we have new entrants, we have the old ones, and it's a healthy fight, I think. So I think that answers both your questions. Okay,
Thank you, Praveen, for your very valuable opinion. Anybody else, sir? Any question you may have? Can you kindly take the mic there, please? There are two gentlemen there, one by one. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is to Rajeev ji. Basically, we are a UK-based company, Norgreen. I am a Norgreen, and this is a beauty of Indian Railway, to get such a big order. I have not heard about any other global company getting such a big order at a time. This is also an opportunity that, you can probably change or revolutionize your whole supply chain and induct those suppliers, who are already proven, and so that you don't have to do any iterations and your speed of delivery also improves. So what is the initiative Texmaco is taking to probably in this direction, to ensure that, you capitalize on this order, at the same time you have quality suppliers who can support you not only for the domestic market, but also for the international installations?
You are right. This is the first time such a big order has been placed by Indian Railways. And this has revived the wagon industry also very well. And as you rightly said, a lot of actions we have been taking in our factory. And first is that we are also modernizing our all base so that the production capacity or the production efficiency can improve. So whether it is in terms of fabrication of wagons or in terms of using the latest technologies, we have been doing the upgradation in that. Second thing is all the foundry work like the bogies and the couplers, we have our own in-house capacity, which we are doing it. Secondly, we do have multiple international orders also, which we are taking the components from US and from the European markets also. So that also is being taken care of. And if you have something which you can really take care of, please let us know. We are definitely looking for many more channel partners and many more sourcing suppliers. Because it is, as of now, the capacity was not there in the industry. So with this order, even we are looking for more suppliers who can supply the components and we can take it forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the reception.
Thank you so much for your views. Anybody else for any question, please?
Hello. Hello.
Good morning, sir. Yeah. I am J.K. Bhatti, Additional General Manager, Rights. My question is to Mr. Praveen Goyal. In fact, sir, the question is a different question. The question is, because you have working on DMRC, Kochi Metro, Chennai, and Patna Metro, so many projects you have worked. My question is, if you see in DMRC, presently at two locations, Pink and this Magenta, they are using platform screen doors. And in DMRC, CBTC communication-based train system is being used. Now under phase 4, they are planning indigenous ATS system. My question is, there are so many companies, they are making platform screen doors, and in near future, in most of the metro stations, the platform screen door will be the requirement. Will it be possible that any company making platform screen doors, it will be compatible with all the existing signaling system? This is my question.
Okay, so currently we are not working in the platform screen door, but I can answer that question to some extent, not to the full extent. Basically, there is an interface which is required and which is between the signaling, stopping of the train and the door. So only when the train is properly docked and it is properly stationed, that is the velocity is 0 as well as the position is as per the requirement, does the door of the platform screen door open. So currently what I find is that a lot of manufacturers have entered into the manufacturing of the PSD, which is the manufacturing of the door, etc. But I'm not sure whether there are many people who are able to interlock it properly. And I'm not exactly aware which companies are working in this area, but that's a SIL, I think SIL 3 or SIL 4 requirement, which is quite a tricky task.
Anybody else who could throw light onto this question, please?
As far as retrofitting is concerned, on existing corridor, if you want to place platform screen door, that is difficult because the existing signaling system, that has to be compatible with the existing signaling system. So the same company can provide that sort of platform screen door. But in new corridor, anyone can place.
Any more question, please?
Myself, Praveen, from Schwihag India Private Limited. So my question is to Mr. Karan, sir.
Somebody please. Somebody please take the mic.
Yes. Can you hear me?
ये लाइट थोड़ी सी कम कर दो जरा. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, no problem. So my question is to Mr. Karan sir, like steel being one of the major raw material in all the commodities, right from bridges to the rolling stock, and the pace at which our country and the industry is progressing, we are equipped and we are bagging a lot of projects in the buckets and we forecast a lot of infrastructure development. So considering the global crisis that is happening all over the world due to the war, the pandemic and all those stuff, since you being the steel expert, could you please give us some inputs? How should the RM prices can be forecasted? I know it is really difficult, but what are all the healthy practices that a supplier or a manufacturing environment can make to sustain this, I would say, a kind of an pendulous effect that is happening in the price hikes, ups and downs. Not only for the steel, I think it is applied for the copper also. Thank you.
I think we are living in a new era where we have to live with the volatility of prices. Just as you are looking at the prices of volatility of steel, because you may be a steel consumer, steel producers have to, contend with the volatility in the prices of their raw materials. If you look at the coking coal or iron ore or scrap or ferroalloys, they are also very, very volatile. And somehow our industry is fully globalized, both for the input supply chain as well as for the output steel. And the best way to meet these challenges is to have our enough domestic capacities so that there is no scarcity of the material. And all I can say is that all steel producers and stainless steel producers, they are looking at the new opportunities which are emerging. Somebody mentioned about the huge wagon orders. Similarly, the kind of developments and the ambitious plans that we have today, they are also being adopted, a similar ambitious plan in the steel industry. We have a capacity of 150 million tons of steel today. Out of that, we produce 120 million tons. And this all is going to be doubled by 2030. That means 8 years' time, we are going to double the steel capacities, what we have taken 70 years or 60 years to build up. So that is the kind of plans. Fortunately, we have iron ore, we have limited coal, but we are adopting technologies which will give focus to the indigenous raw materials. And that's how we can fight the volatility of the raw materials. And if we are able to fight the volatility of raw materials, we will provide the same price stability to our consumers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. We have time for one last question. Anybody, maybe from that corner, please? Anybody from any corner? Yeah. Can you please take the...
Good morning, sir. This is Ashwini Verma from JSW Steel Limited. My question to Rajeev, sir, from Texmaco. But I want to understand what's the current trend in wagons, private versus Indian Railways, with respect to world. Suppose, for example, if Indian Railway buys 80% of the wagons in the Indian market, 20 was with the Adanis and other private players. What's the India versus world, or against the major economies? Are we seeing any trend change in India also, or it is governed by the Indian Railway only?
See, when I talk of the Indian market, when the private customers are buying wagons from us, they are basically operating on the Indian track, basically to carry the coal or other commodity. And when they buy the wagons from us, or when they operate their own rake, they get some benefits from the railways. So that is the trend which is happening. And the similar kind of wagons are operating in the international markets only because of the track difference and the type of the speeds what the other countries are maintaining. The technology slightly differs. So as of now, like we are also operating at a more than 100 kilometers per hour speed. But then depending on the trend, I mean, in the different countries, the wagons are built in. So that's what the difference I see in the international and the Indian market.
We are expecting a growth in private wagons, or it's a Indian Railway will come into the as a major role as present case.
See, as of now, the number of wagons which are there with the Indian Railways is around 3 lakhs, which they are going to increase it to somewhere 4,50,000 wagons in a span of 7 to 8 years. So demand is definitely going to increase, but looking at the present capacity or the present number of wagons what are available with the Indian Railways, more and more parties are going for the private wagons because there is a shortage. And a lot of wagons, like especially the box NHL wagon, which is carrying coal, and shortage of coal in the power sector, sometimes giving short of not availability of wagons. So it is affecting the production process of other companies like Hindalco or Adani or something. So that's the reason, I mean, they go for the private wagons. So the trend is going to increase. But yes, I mean, Indian Railways is coping up very well, and the first time when they released this order of 75,000 wagons, they are also going to increase the demand for that. For next 10 years, I see, I mean, at least 30,000 wagons per year will be added in the railway industry.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm highly thankful to all the panelists, to all the attendees for their patience, and I hope this session has been very, very informative and very, very educative rather. And well, all the panelists are kind enough. They can be contacted later on for any other queries which you may have or any other clarifications. Thank you so much for your time.